Welcome, architects and engineers. Today, we are diving into the Distributed Replicated Block Device, better known as DRBD. At its core, DRBD is a software-defined, kernel-based solution designed to provide high availability by mirroring block devices over a network. Think of it as a network-based RAID 1. Because it operates within the Linux kernel, specifically starting from version 2.6.33, it bypasses many of the performance bottlenecks found in user space replication tools. In a modern, ultra-scalable environment, DRBD serves as the bedrock for stateful services, ensuring that even if a node suffers a total hardware failure, a byte-for-byte identical copy exists on a peer node, ready for immediate promotion. This is critical for maintaining 99.999% uptime in distributed systems. We must look at its position in the I/O stack. DRBD sits directly above the physical disk or volume manager, but below the file system or application layer. This placement is strategic. When an application issues a write request, the Linux buffer cache passes it down to the virtual DRBD device. DRBD then handles the local write to the disk while simultaneously shipping the data block over the network to the secondary node's kernel. Only once the data is safely transmitted according to the selected protocol does the operation complete. This allows it to be completely transparent to the file system, whether you are using ext4, XFS, or even block-level applications like database engines. Data integrity versus performance is the classic trade-off, and DRBD manages this through three primary protocols. Protocol A is asynchronous. The write is considered complete once it hits the local disk and the local network buffer. This is ideal for long-distance disaster recovery. Protocol B is semi-synchronous, requiring the data to reach the remote node's memory. Finally, Protocol C is fully synchronous. It is the gold standard for high availability. A write is only finished when both the local and the remote disks confirm the I/O. In high-speed local area networks with 10 gigabit or faster, Protocol C ensures zero data loss during a failover, providing the strongest consistency model available. Why do we insist on kernel-level replication? Efficiency. By running as a kernel module, DRBD eliminates the context-switching overhead that plagues user space applications. When data enters the kernel, DRBD uses zero-copy mechanisms to ship blocks to the network interface card. This reduces CPU cycles and minimizes latency to the microsecond range. Furthermore, since it is integrated into the mainline Linux kernel since 2.6.33, it benefits from the same stability and performance optimizations as the rest of the OS. For senior architects, this means predictable I/O profiles even under heavy load, which is indispensable for scaling database clusters or large-scale virtualization hosts. DRBD provides the data replication, but it doesn't handle the failover logic itself. For a complete high-availability solution, we integrate it with Pacemaker and CoroSync. CoroSync handles the cluster membership and messaging, ensuring all nodes know who is alive. Pacemaker acts as the brain, the cluster resource manager. When a primary node fails, Pacemaker detects the heartbeat loss via CoroSync, promotes the DRBD resource on the secondary node to primary status, and then mounts the file system and starts the application. This entire process can happen in seconds, ensuring that your services remain reachable with minimal interruption to the end user. The evolution of DRBD 9.0 introduced a significant shift from the traditional two-node limit. We can now support up to 32 nodes in a single resource cluster. This allows for complex topologies, such as a local 3-node high-availability cluster for immediate failover, combined with a 4th node in a different geographic region for disaster recovery. DRBD 9 also supports auto-promote, allowing the device to be promoted to primary automatically upon being opened by a process. This simplifies the management of large-scale distributed storage and enables architectures that were previously only possible with expensive proprietary SAN hardware. To squeeze every bit of performance out of DRBD, we must tune the underlying infrastructure. First, we look at the send buff size and RCV buff size to ensure the network buffers can handle the throughput. On 10 gigabit and 40 gigabit links, using jumbo frames, MTU 9000, is highly recommended to reduce interrupt overhead. Another critical parameter is the AL extents. This controls the activity log, which tracks hot blocks. A higher value improves write performance, but can increase resync time after a crash.
By carefully balancing these settings, engineers can achieve near-native disk speeds over the network, making the replication overhead almost invisible to the application.
In any distributed system, the split brain is the nightmare scenario. This occurs when the network link between nodes fails, and both nodes believe they are the rightful primary, leading to divergent data. DRBD offers sophisticated fencing and quorum mechanisms to prevent this. Using Stoneth, shoot the other node in the head, Pacemaker can physically power off a misbehaving node. Additionally, DRBD9 provides quorum-based voting. A node can only become primary if it can communicate with a majority of the cluster. These safeguards ensure that data integrity is never compromised, even in the event of complex network partitions. While most DRBD use cases involve a single primary, there is a specialized mode called dual primary. This allows both nodes to have the block device open for writing simultaneously. However, this is extremely dangerous without a cluster-aware file system like GFS2 or OCFS2. These file systems use a distributed lock manager, or DLM, to coordinate access to individual blocks, preventing corruption. This architecture is often used in live migration scenarios for virtual machines, where two hosts need to access the same virtual disk at the same time during the handover. It represents the pinnacle of block-level flexibility in the Linux ecosystem.
We have covered the architectural depths of DRBD, from kernel integration to complex multi-node topologies. As you design your high-availability systems, remember 3 things. Always prioritize Protocol C for local clusters to ensure zero data loss. Implement robust fencing using Stoneth to protect against split-brain scenarios. And finally, always monitor your out-of-sync metrics to ensure your network bandwidth is keeping up with your write load. DRBD remains one of the most cost-effective and high-performance tools in the architect's arsenal for building resilient, ultra-scalable infrastructure. Thank you for joining this deep dive into kernel-level replication.